Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. This honorable commission is now in session. May God bless this country and God bless this county. Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate that. Invocation tonight will be from Mr. Mike Peasel, the pastor at Gateway Christian Center in Goodlettsville. Mr. Peasel.
Let's pray. Father God, I thank you for the nation that we live in where we are free to do what we're doing here tonight. We have the freedom and the ability to do this. I thank you for the great state of Tennessee. And I thank you for Sumner County, the beauty of the place and the people. I thank you for the people, the men and women here who are serving in this position, and they've worked hard to get here, and they work hard while they're here. And so I pray, God, that you would bless them tonight. We pray a special blessing over our fire, over our EMT, over our police and sheriff and all those first responders. And we read in the book of Isaiah, as we are told about this coming Messiah, the Prince of Peace, that the government will be upon his shoulders. So Holy Spirit, we just say tonight, we ask that you would lead us in everything that we think and say and do for your glory. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Madam Clerk would take a roll for us. All right. Mr. Pomeroy is out of town, Mr. Wright is sick, and Mr. Teachner's father passed away here recently, so please keep him in your prayers. With those three out, it'll still be 13 for majority, 16 for 2/3 vote items. All right, is there a motion to approve the regular agenda? Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? I got you. Motion and a second. Let's see here. Mr. Schoaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like, because we deferred this in budget, I would like to, and I think if anybody's here to speak to it, I would like to hear them speak. I would like for them to be able to speak because they came to it. But I would like to defer item number 2511-13 because we pushed it in budget 1 month. So that's my,
Okay.
that's what I'd
So
like
there's
to
a
do.
motion to defer 2511-13. Okay, to allow, and still continue to allow those to speak. Is there a second? Second. Okay, and a second. Madam Clerk, let's put that on board. 13 votes to defer that. And there is an ad hoc meeting later this week for that committee. So yes is to defer. Okay, that will stay on the agenda. Mr. Mansfield.
Yes, sir. I would like to add resolution about term limits that's on your desk that I brought forward previously to the agenda. And as well as I'd like to pull something off consent, 2511-07, pull off consent agenda.
Let's do those separate. Which one pull off?
2511-07, I want to pull off consent back to budget.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that.
And I make a motion to add term limits resolution to the agenda.
There's a motion and a second. Let's put that one on the board. This is to add term limits to the legislative committee report.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay, that does not get the required 13. Ms. Miller.
I just would like clarification on Under Committee on Committees, number 2, Regional Planning Commission, Mr. Elston, it says 4-year term. What we discussed was him fulfilling the term until January, so that's not what we passed in Committee on Committees. And so just kind of for clarification, maybe from the law director, that it is to fulfill until January, because that's not what we voted on in Committee on Committees.
What you stated is correct. So that this 4-year term that's listed here for under Committee on Committees, Regional Planning Commission would be to fill the current vacant term, which expires in January, and then it would be filled again at that point in time. Okay. So yes. Seeing no one else in the queue, let's all in favor of the agenda as amended, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, let's, was it just 2? Raise your hand if you said no. Okay, so we got Brown, Klein, and Mansfield as a no. You good with that? Okay, all right. We got it. We have an agenda. Okay, approval of the consent agenda items. And remember, we removed 2511-07. Motion and a second. All in, 2511-07 is going to be moved to the normal agenda. Yeah. So again, let's, all those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that's unanimous. Approval of the minutes from October 20th. It's a motion. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that's unanimous. Certificates of recognition, there are none for this month. Recognition of the public for agenda items. Okay. Just as a reminder for folks on these agenda items, each speaker will have up to 5 minutes. State your full name, address, county for the record. Comments must relate to items on tonight's agenda. Should not reference any elected official by name. Please refrain from applause, any other outbursts, so we can maintain order. And thank you for doing that. First up, we have Mary Cole. And then next will be Mike McClard. Is Mary still? Okay, there. If you can come up to this mic. Yes, ma'am.
Am I allowed to? Because I would like to speak on term limits and it did not make the agenda.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're on that other one too, right? You signed up both?
I did.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, you can speak at the end of the agenda. For that, I apologize. That's my fault.
I'm trying to be honest.
No, I appreciate it. I didn't see that over here.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you for that. Sorry about that. All right, Mike McClard and then Henry DeGroot.
Well, I was hoping somebody else would speak first. My name is Mike McClard, 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville. I'd like to speak on the additional funding for the volunteer fire department. I live in the county. Very familiar with them. The Shackle Island is mine. They have come to my house. They've come to our neighborhood. With my house, will be the 3rd time in the last 15 years. My house had a chimney fire. They were there in minutes. Luckily, it put itself out quickly, so there was no damage to us. But we've had 2 other homes that were damaged in our neighborhood, and they've always showed up. I'm going to quote, I know I'm not supposed to mention names, but this isn't a derogatory type of quote. The mayor and I were talking after a committee meeting the other day, and he didn't get a chance to voice his opinion. And he said that there are no borders when it comes to volunteer fire departments. And that was evident yesterday when there was a fire in Millersville. Shackle Island and Cottontown both showed up to help them with a brush fire. I know there's an ad hoc committee. It's been formed, And I think that committee can probably come up with a good way to continue funding this going forward. But for now, I think these departments need the monies. If I know some of the argument is that, well, I live in the city, I don't want to have to pay for any of that because I'm covered by my taxes I pay in the city. Well, if you drive outside in the county, you're probably going to fall into some volunteer fire department. If you have an accident at the intersection of Long Hollow Pike and New Hope or New Shackle Island Road, it's going to be Shackle Island that's going to come and help you. The two schools sitting right there, Beach and Liberty Creek, they are protected by Cottontown and Shackle Island. So it really needs to be added on and give them money so they can help the people, which is what they have been doing for years. And I would ask that when this comes up, when y'all vote, that you do vote it through. Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Mr. Henry DeGroot, and then Mr. Chris Shoemaker is next. Give you your name and full address, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Henry DeGroot. I live at 1034 Lakeshore Drive in Gallatin. I'm here to speak on behalf of the funding for the volunteer fire, the fire departments. I've spoken a couple of times to some other committees, I think the Budget Committee and the HEMS Committee, and on both of those, I've tried to point out and to praise the efforts of the volunteers, a lot of which are seated in the audience today. And they're very worthy of that praise. I want to take a slightly different tack today and to try to bring to your attention that there's a large contingent of your constituents that are protected by these volunteer fire departments. I just did a quick little survey online today, and don't hold me to these numbers because I'm not a mathematician, but what I have determined is that there are approximately almost 71,000 Sumner County residents that live in areas that are protected by volunteer firefighters. 71,000 of tax-paying, voting constituents depend on those volunteers to come to their aid if they need any kind of help. The one-time funding that's being proposed and will be voted on earlier or later today is going to help them get through the rest of this fiscal year. There's a number of departments that I know of that I've spoken to personally that are in desperate need of operational funds to continue to operate. This is not talking about buying new fire engines or buying new safety gear. This is them paying for insurance so they can keep their rigs on the road, putting diesel in the rigs so they're able to drive, providing money for equipment changes and equipment renewals, things like that. Operational expenses that they are experiencing that they don't currently have the funds to manage on their own. So I'm urging you to vote this one-time funding in. I have the honor to have been selected to serve on the ad hoc committee. We do have a first meeting coming up on Wednesday, but it's my personal impression at this point that we're not going to be able to come up with a quick fix. And so to try to put off the funding, this one-time funding, because the ad hoc committee is going to meet and might try to come up with some other solution, is not going to meet the immediate needs for the volunteer departments that are here today. And so as a citizen of Sumner County and City of Gallatin, I urge you please to strongly consider passing this budget addition of the $650,000 for the volunteers. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Chris Shoemaker and then Mr. Curtis Williams. Your name and full address, please.
Chris Shoemaker, 1018 Silver Maple Lane up in Portland. So I'm also talking about the volunteer fire department funding. So this item's been discussed by this body, previous and this commission several times, and it's been several times that, we're kicking this can down the road. So I currently live outside the city limits of Portland in Highlands District. I'm going to quote the news article that was posted the other day in regards to this, that, we're bad at marketing. So I agree with that. So we always hear everybody talk about, what about the ISO rating? Well, we can lower the ISO rating, it's going to save money. But we don't ever talk about the other side of that, is what happens if, God forbid, they have to shutter the doors, and what happens when an ISO rating goes all the way up to the top. So I was able to get my agent to manipulate my rates. So I'll tell you, my house is valued roughly, we'll say $400,000, I think is what the tax assessors got me at. I pay $1,830 a year for homeowners insurance, an ISO rating of 6. I was able to get them to manipulate that and change that to a 10. If that goes to a 10, I take a 50% increase of $903 to $2,700 a year. You take that impact and put that across to every one of the 71,000 citizens that was talked about earlier in Sumner County and see what the financial impact of it is there. And all of a sudden, $650,000 doesn't sound so bad. That's it.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Curtis Williams. Your name and full address, please.
Hello, my name is Curtis Williams. I live at 1027 Jackson Heights. I'm Goodlettsville zip code, but it's between White House and Millersville, also inside of White House Community Volunteer Fire Department's fire district. I have a speech, but since somebody mentioned it, just so everyone's clear, Beach Elementary School, Beach High School, T.W. Hunter Middle School, Oakmont Elementary School, Liberty Creek Elementary, Middle, and High School, Bethpage Elementary School, North Sumner Elementary School, Westmoreland Elementary, Middle School, High School, and Benny Bills Elementary School. All these are outside city limits that the children of the county go to, that are the volunteer fire departments are responsible for these school zones. But to go back to the speech. Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here not just as a community member, but as the child of a firefighter. I grew up in a household where the sound of a pager going off at any hour of the day or night was normal, where dinner could be interrupted at any moment, where holidays sometimes meant an empty seat at the table because someone needed help. From the outside, people see the flashing lights and the uniforms. From the inside, what I saw was sacrifice. I saw someone I love run toward danger because that's simply what firefighters do, whether they're paid or volunteer. And in communities like ours, volunteers are the backbone of emergency response. Volunteer firefighters are your neighbors. They're the people who coach youth sports, who work full-time jobs, who raise families, and then, without hesitation, respond when someone in this community is having the worst moment of their life. They do this out of service, not salary, out of responsibility, not reward. But the truth is, we are asking our volunteer firefighters to do an increasingly demanding job with tools and equipment that are aging, stretched thin, or outdated. That is not sustainable. Across the country, fire calls increasing some as many as 800 a year. Fires, medical emergencies, vehicle accidents, storm damage, hazardous material incidents, training requirements have grown more complex, equipment standards have gotten stricter, and for good reason. Firefighters today face hotter fires, more toxic smoke, and more unpredictable emergencies than ever before. Yet volunteer fire departments everywhere are being asked to operate with budgets that haven't kept pace with those realities. Here's what that means on the ground. It means turnout gear that's past its recommended lifespan, gear that may not protect a firefighter the way it should. It means SCBA air packs that need replacing long before they fail. It means radios with dead zones. It means fire trucks that are decades old, struggling to keep up with modern demands. And in the worst cases, it means slower response times because the department simply doesn't have enough safe, reliable equipment to get crews on the road. These aren't abstract problems. They're risks to the volunteers, to the families they protect, and to every person in this community who may someday make a 911 call. Now, I want to make something very clear. Volunteer firefighters do not ask for much. They don't ask for recognition. They don't ask for comfort, special treatment. All they're asking for is the tools to do their job safely. They ask for the gear that will let them come home to their own families after saving someone else's. They ask for training that keeps them prepared for the realities of modern emergencies. And these are things a community owes to the people who step forward to protect it. When we fund our volunteer fire departments, we're not just buying equipment, we're buying time. Faster response times, we're buying safety, for firefighters and for residents, and we're buying peace of mind knowing that when someone dials 911, help will arrive quickly with the right tools and with trained responders who aren't forced to choose between risking their safety and doing their job. Investing in our volunteer fire service isn't a cost. It's prevention, it's protection, it's stewardship. As someone who grew up in a firefighter's home, I know the weight of every call. I know the look in a firefighter's eyes when the gear they rely on isn't good enough. I know the fear that families feel when they watch their loved ones respond to emergencies with equipment that should have been replaced years ago. Our volunteer firefighters show up for us day, night, weekends, holidays, in every kind of weather, in every kind of crisis. They do it without hesitation. They do it without complaint. They do it because they believe in this community. It's time for us to show up for them. Stronger funding means safer firefighters. Safer firefighters means safer families, and safer families makes a stronger, more resilient community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. That concludes our recognition of public on agenda items. There's that. All right, the report of the chair, veteran service reports attached. We get the financial statement memo for docketing purposes as well. Item number 3, there's been a few people have come to me asking me just sort of an opinion about potentially moving our committee, our full commission meetings from 7 p.m. up to 6 p.m. And next month we'll be setting all the dates and so forth for next year. So what I was thinking on this one is if I would entertain a motion to move our December meeting from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. There's a motion by Mr. Schoaf, second by Mr. Nguyen. Okay. Ms. Janong, you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Chairman. December is fine because we don't have a resource authority meeting in December. We don't meet in December. But after that, we do meet at 5 at the resource authority, sometimes on the nights when we have commission meetings. So we would have to leave that meeting early, and there's a lot of times they need important business, votes, things like that. So that wouldn't do well for 3 of the commissioners that are on the board. Okay. I just wanted to remind you of that. Okay,
no, thank you. Yeah, the motion that's on the floor now is only the December meeting. Again, next month we'll set the schedule for going into next year. Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just something to think about. We might also entertain a sort of splitting the baby in the middle and maybe go 6:30. That would also help and maybe give a little time for those who are on the resource authority. It's just something to ponder.
Okay. So for right now, the motion that's on the table is for December's meeting to move from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. No one else in the queue. Let's put that on board just in case. Here we go. So yes vote is to go to 6 p.m. for December only.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay. 13 yeses. December's meeting will be 6 p.m. That concludes my report. Report of the county officials. Your written reports be filed by county officials. Let's put the notaries on the board. Is there a motion? Okay, motion and a second. Okay, let's put that on the board.
Each commissioner record your vote.
All right, that's unanimous. Report of standing committees. Health and Emergency Service, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you push the right button, it works better. We don't really have a report. However, I do want to take a moment and acknowledge our life flight team here in Sumner County. And not only our life flight team here in Sumner County, the Air Evac 62 out of Bowling Green lost their pilot to a crash that occurred the other day. Definitely a hard time for first responders right now in the live flight world. Also, Air Evac 19 which is stationed out of Lafayette, responded unknowing what they was going to when they received the tones for Wilson County. They just cleared a call. Nashville was on their way back to the base and received a report of a scene flight. They didn't know what they was going into, and when the pilot made the final approach, when he banked the helicopter to see, they saw the bottom that said live flight. So I can't imagine what that would be. So while I don't have a report, I would just ask the commission take a moment of silence to remember those that I've mentioned here, if we could, please.
Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Education, Mr. Sullivan. No report. Highway, Mr. Harrison. No report. General Ops, Mr. Harris.
One item, Mr. Chairman. It's the authorizing the purchase of real property located at 20.
You got a motion? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? All right. So that's unanimous. All right. Anything else, Mr. Harris? That's all? Okay. All right. Committee on Committees, Mrs. Bergdorf.
Yes. For the Music City Executive Airport Authority, we have Don Abbott with a positive recommendation and Neil Burgess for a 5-year, they're both 5-year terms, positive recommendation. Neil Burgess is replacing Steve Salazar, who resigned, and Don Abbott is a renewal. And I so move.
So there's a motion to group and approve and a second. And these 5 years start fresh. These aren't terms like the other one we mentioned.
No, they are on time. Actually, no, I'm not looking at the Steve Salazar's had, well, yeah, I guess so, because his had expired in '24.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, according to law director, this committee, these start fresh terms.
Okay.
So the group and approve. No one else in the queue. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that's unanimous. Ms. Bergdorf?
The Regional Planning Commission, and yes, legal and I had spoken about making sure that everyone knew this. Tommy Elston is replacing the end of a term, and it does renew in January. I spoke with him about that. He wanted to go ahead and come on board. He is aware of the situation, and I so move.
There's a motion and a second. No one in the queue. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? You got one abstention, Mr. Mansfield. Mr. Klein abstains. Okay, everyone else is in the favor there. Anything else, Ms. Bergdorf? All right, thank you. Legislative, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 2511-09 to approve the lease between Sumner County with the Sumner County Recovery Court for the premises located at 117 West Smith Street, and I so move.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. Wynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion just to group and approve the remainder of our agenda.
Okay, so there's an amendment to group and approve the remainder of the agenda and a second.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Schoaf, on this amendment?
Yes, I'd like to amend that to remove, so we can discuss it, item 2511-13. So everything else would be approved, but then we would move directly to 2511-13. That's my amendment.
Okay, there's an amendment to the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a second. Okay, Mr. Mansfield, on this amendment to the amendment or on the amendment?
Well, I'm all amendmented out, so I guess I'll have to just speak to the items on the agenda. So it's the only chance I get. This is Bruce.
Okay, go ahead. Well, let's actually, if it's on other items,
well, it's on items.
I'll give you a chance to, let's see if it gets, the amendment passes, and then you can speak when we go to discussion.
That's fair enough.
Thank you.
I'll still have a chance.
All right, Mr. Jones, amendment, okay, same thing. All right, so let's put this on the board. This is the amendment to the amendment, and this would remove 2511-13 from Mr. Wynn's amendment. So a voting yes here would remove 2511-13, and we would take that up separately. Put that to.
Each commissioner records a vote.
Okay. So the amendment, Mr. Wynn's amendment now, as amended, is to group and approve the remainder of the agenda except for 2511-13. So this is the amendment. So if this amendment passes, then Mr. Mansfield, you can speak, or others can speak on that topic at that point in time. Oh, okay, that's fair. Mr. Jones beat you here.
No, he was already in before me, so I
All
just
right.
never turned off. That's fine.
All right, Mr. Mansfield.
Yeah, I'm going to make an amendment to defer item 2511-07, Zubeen software, until the next budget cycle and send it back to the library board for approval. As it's my understanding, it never went before the library board and was not included in the original budget. I feel if the director wants this, she should move stuff around and find the money for it. So I'm going to move, that's my amendment, to defer to the next budget cycle and come back through that way and send it back to the library board.
Just to clarify, the budget cycle or the budget like next month?
Budget cycle, meaning next spring.
Oh.
March through June. So
Okay.
that's my motion to defer this request, 2511-07.
Okay. So make sure, can you repeat that for me then?
Yeah, I move to defer this until the next budget cycle, which is the spring, and send it back to the library board for approval.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second by Mr. Jones on this amendment. Okay, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, and speaking to library board member, the question was about the real need for that and being a taxpayer expenditure and some possible redundancies for that. I think all of that needed to be brought before the library board first anyway, but instead it skipped the library board and went straight to budget. I don't know why that happened. That should not have happened. But I would like to hear about, and I think a lot of taxpayers would like to hear about, possibly wasting taxpayer money on something that's not needed if there is some overlap with existing things. That's why I'm going to vote against it for now. I want to hear it go through the library board process and understand all of that.
Okay, thanks, sir. Ms. Bergdorf?
I am under the impression this is not new money. It is a transfer between, in the same line. And it is to save, she gets a 10% discount if she does the 3-year contract instead of the yearly, and it's to save money on printing. It's a law, sorry. The patrons can log their reading hours electronically, so it saves money on printing all the reading logs for the summer reading program.
But is your impression that needed to go through the library?
It is not my impression because she's in charge of her day-to-day functions, and to me that's a day-to-day function, choosing to purchase a product that will help her library be more efficient.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schoaf?
My fellow commissioner here just said several of the reasons here. My understanding, and I'm happy to be correct on it, it's also that this was a transfer. And because if it had been net new money, I would probably, I don't think this would have made it this far. But because it's a transfer, I believe we've done stuff like this in the past. And I do know that, transfers for most departments find their way, to budget without going through HMS or other committees. So because it is a transfer, and again, I'm happy to be corrected if we were mistaken about this, I think that's why this is considered fine.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Jones?
So if we're going to vote on this now, I just want to understand it. Is this for one library? It seems like could be helpful for all libraries. Is this a licensing for one library to get the software, or is this for all the libraries?
Can you put Mr. Schoaf back on the board, or Mike? Mr. Schoaf, can you answer that question, please?
I can, and I can give some context if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
And again, we have a member of the library board here who can provide context as well, but this is for one library, that's my understanding, and the context is, if we roll this back a couple years, this commission, and I was in favor of this, we broke up a centralized library system. And the reason that we broke up a centralized library system was because what we saw with that centralized library system was that we were taking librarian, boots on the ground resources and bringing them up into an administrative function. And so we broke that out and we decentralized. One of the implications of decentralizing is that different libraries can have a little bit more autonomy to run things as they see fit, subject to the bounds of a set budget. And if we were to go above that budget, they can make a request. But again, this is a transfer. So, we made the move to decentralize. This is a consequence of decentralization. That's the context.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Mansfield.
Yeah, I just was, when I watched the meeting last week and just hearing some of the questions asked by commissioners, and just wanted to look into what this software is for and why this one library wanted it. But my understanding is it's an app that families can download and use without the library needing to pay for it. So I didn't feel it's any reason for taxpayers to cut or something that wasn't an essential service for a library. I think that our dollars should stay focused on core services and collections and things that patrons actually can't get on their own. This is an app that is downloadable to the public. It's a reading log software. It's optional. And I think we've had issues of paying our library employees better. I'd rather see these types of funds go towards increased pay for library employees. So, I'm looking at this Beanstack app from Zubeen. What it is, it's not a catalog, and it's not just how patrons look up books to check out. Again, it's a reading log, and it's an app. And I just don't think using public funds for this is necessary when this is something that people can get on their own as an app. And I'd rather see this money used for different reasons. So I'm going to be opposed to this.
All right.
And so that's why I moved to defer it.
All right, thanks, sir. Ms. Bergdorf.
I just want to defer to the professional that's in the seat, and if she says that she needs this and the money is in her budget to spend it, then I feel like it is within our purview to allow her to have that. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's put this on the board. So this is an amendment to the amendment, and so this amendment would be to defer 2511-07 to next spring's budget cycle. So a yes would be to defer it to next spring budget cycle.
Each commissioner record your vote.
All right, so that fails to get 13 votes. Now we're back to the amendment, which was to group and approve the remainder of the agenda except for 2511-13. Mr. Schoaf.
Yeah, I came here prepared to vote to pass that. And again, I don't think it should be deferred. And I'm talking here about the Zubeen. I voted to pass it in budget, and I probably will continue to support it. But based on what Mr. Mansfield said, I guess I would like to know a little bit more about it, if it is something that can be freely acquired. So I don't want to push it off to a whole nother budget cycle, but I would like to defer it for a month. So I'm going to motion to defer for a month.
Okay, is maybe to defer it back to budget?
Just batch budget for 1 month.
Okay, so there's a motion to defer it back to budget and a second by Mr. Mansfield. Mr. Young, on this specific?
Grouping and approve, what are we doing? The Zoom Beam, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say something about that app. So that app is a Mark Cuban investment program. The people that, there's two people that developed it, and they were on whatever that invention, Shark Tank, whatever. But it is an app, and it is available to anybody. So I'm not opposed to people having tracking programs for kids and parents and things like that, but I know that a lot of you have apps on your phone, because I see you playing on them. So, and they're free. So I'm not sure why we're paying for something that's free. And that's my question,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're talking about deferring this to December's budget committee. Mr. Mansfield on this?
Just alluding to what Commissioner Janung talked about, the original intent of this app, just so people know, the original mission and founding of this actual app was to serve quote-unquote non-traditional family structures, such as transgender type households. I'm just saying our libraries don't need an expensive app or anything like this. It pushes a social agenda that families can already get on their own. I will say at the Millersville Library, I did have a former employee reach out to me that their men were allowed to go to the women's restroom dressed as women in that library. So this is the origin and foundation of this app. So when we want to talk about trusting library directors, I don't trust
All right,
the library
thanks,
director.
sir. Ms. Boyd, on this,
I have a question. How much money are we talking, and is that spread over the multi-year, 3 years?
Mr. Shove, what's the,
Sorry, I was confirming. $3,600. I thought it was 35, 3,600.
$3,600 over a 3-year,
3-year term.
36 each year, 36 total.
30.
So 3,600 total.
1,200 each
So
year.
$1,200
About
a year, 3
$100
years.
a month.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Brown. I think you hit, there you go.
While we were sitting here, I downloaded the app.
Mhm.
It's free. I don't understand this. Why
So
are
you,
we
so you
paying
support
something
moving
that's
it to
free?
budget?
It just doesn't make sense that we're spending taxpayer money on something that anybody can get that's free.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, let's put this on the, Mr. Jones on this?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just thought it may be helpful to read just a quick Google search for it for people to understand where it comes from. I heard allegations of where it was derived from, but just a question to Google. Zubeen, now known as Beanstack, was created by Felix Lloyd and Jordan Lloyd, Bookie, to provide personalized reading lists for children from non-traditional families. The app uses a combination of human and algorithmic curation to create tailored reading lists, making it a valuable tool for parents and caregivers looking to find books that match children's personal interests and backgrounds. The app's focus on non-traditional genres and interests was a significant aspect of its original business model, which was initially introduced as Book of the Month business to connect families with non-traditional genres and interests. For that alone, I want to learn a lot more about it before I vote to pay for that.
Thank you, sir. Let's put this on the board. A yes vote on this. We'll send it to December's budget committee.
Each commissioner records your vote.
Okay, that failed to get 13 votes. So now we're back on the amendment to group and approve the remainder of the agenda, except for 2511-13. Ms. Janine.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I want to talk about, you want to, and
Is this an amendment to the, is this on the amendment?
to group and approve?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I don't want to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the reason why is one of my, the opioid abatement program, the Recovery Court, Inc. is on there, and the opioid fund, the funds for audit. I thought we should discuss that, and that should be part of so the community knows what's going on, especially with the lease that's being proposed for $1 a year. So I wanted to say that I do not agree with the grouping and approve. I think that's the lazy man's way. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mansfield.
Yes, I would like to pull 2511-07 out of the group and approve.
Okay. It's a motion and a second to pull it out of the group and approve. Mr. Lambert.
Not on this.
Okay. All right, let's put this on the board. This is to pull 2511-07 outside of the group and approve. A yes means to pull it out.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay, so that fails. We're back to the main amendment here. Mr. Lambert.
Call the question.
Let's call the question. Let's put that on the board. Need 16 votes. This is to call the question.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Call the question. Okay, that fails. All right, Mr. Mansfield.
Yes, I'd like to pull Resolution 2511-09 out of the group and approve. I do support this, but I'm not going to support some other things, so, but that's my motion.
It's a motion and a second on 2511-09. Mr. Jones, speak on this. Okay, let's put that on the board. This is to pull 2511-09 outside of the group and approve. A yes vote means to pull it out.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay, that fails. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to amend item number 4 under Budget Committee. I didn't catch the 2511 number attached to it. Hang on a second.
The one that got pulled?
2511-07.
Okay.
I would like to amend that to be the $3,200, the $3,600 to go towards employee raises for the libraries instead of this app.
Second. Point of order, isn't that way off track of what this bill is?
It's about a chunk of money. I mean, I can appropriate it differently.
I think, according to the law director, with it affecting the pay of multiple libraries, unless you want to keep it to the library in question.
Sure.
Yeah, we would be changing the pay of just one library, and that's something that we don't want to do.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Yeah, it's out of order. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Shove?
I'm just going to, because I see where this is going, and I'd be happy to vote on all. I think probably the prudent thing to do is just amend this to go back and vote on all these individually.
Okay. Amendment.
We just vote on them individually.
Who made the original motion? Mr. Nguyen? All right, so there's amendment to just vote on everything separate. It's amendment to the amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, I've got that yeses on that. Okay. All right, let's put it on the board. Mr. Nguyen, let's keep things on task, please. Let's put it on the board.
Each commissioner record your vote.
All right, so that doesn't pass. All right. We're back to the amendment of everything except 2511-13. Let's put that on the board. So this is now the amendment to group and approve everything besides 2511-13. Put it on the board. So yes, this approves the amendment. We'll have to vote on it again.
Each commissioner record your vote.
All right, so now the main motion as amended, let's put that on the board. It's the exact same vote we just did, but this is the main motion as amended.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay. So everything on the agenda is approved except for 2511-13. Mr. Harrison, anything else from your report, sir?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Schoaf.
Okay, so we have the motion, we have the item to approve an additional $650,000 for the volunteer fire departments. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
There's a motion and a second.
I'd like to be in queue.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if I needed to do it in order to make an amendment. So I'd made this amendment in budget, and I'll do it again here. And I want to state that I don't think anybody up here is going to argue that the volunteer fire departments don't need, that they are becoming stretched beyond their original scope. And because of that, they need funding. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. The question is always around, and this is not a 6-month or even 6-year thing. This is a 30-year problem, at least from my research into it. The issue is their status as volunteers versus county employees. And so we say that this is one-time funding, but if you look at the trajectory of how much we're spending here, not that long ago we spent around $120,000 total in the volunteer fire departments, and now we're closing in on $100,000 each for each station. So it is a radical uptick, and I'm not saying that it's not needed. When we build a lot of developments outside of the city limits, this is what happens. I don't disagree with anything any of the volunteer fire departments set up here. What I'm saying is we are not structurally designed to continue to increase at this rate. That is my argument, and it is a math argument. It is not a political argument or an argument against need. So the amendment I made, that's the context here, and the amendment that I made in budget is to do this one time, but make it contingent on or subject to a vote or subject to a referendum that puts funding options out to the unincorporated citizens for a vote. And so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to amend this to approve it, but as an amendment, we will also submit a request to the state to allow us to put a referendum for fire service funding to the unincorporated areas. And on that, I want to be super, super clear. This is step one of a multi-step process. We're not adding a tax. We're not adding a fee. We're not even adding a funding line. We're not even adding a referendum. We're asking the state to allow us to do it. That's my motion.
Okay. I'll just check with the law director. So this amendment can pass with 13 votes, but then the main motion would have to pass 16 votes because of the stipulation of asking the state to do that. So this amendment can pass with 13, but then the main motion, if it gets approved, would need 16.
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
My understanding, I could be wrong, it's just a point of information here. My understanding is that you need that to actually pass a private act. We're not trying to pass a private act here. We are requesting we're requesting a change, but we're not actually amending it. We're not actually approving that private act.
You're asking, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this, Mr.
You're asking
Hall,
permission
microphone.
to do something
Wait for your
stated
microphone.
that you weren't otherwise entitled to do, so it's going to be a private act.
Yes.
Okay.
You're being asked to do something you weren't able to do prior to, so you're basically asking for a public act, some sort of exception so that the county can do that.
Will it be? But I thought.
I mean, private act, my bad.
And just, I thought and I could be wrong here, I thought the private act was required. So the way I'm understanding this, that we would make a request to the state, and then we would actually draft a private act. And so the private act would be the second thing we did.
This would go to the state as a request. Once if the state ratifies it, it comes back, we vote again, have to have 16.
And that second vote, that has to have 16, but does this one
No,
have
it
to?
starts out as a private
Okay,
act.
all right.
So it would need 16 to pass if,
Got it.
right now,
All right.
it's 13 for the amendment, which is clear as mud, right? Okay. All right, so this is on the amendment, Mr. Mansfield? You're in the queue? Okay.
I guess I don't understand why the amendment would be a 13-vote amendment, because the amendment is to do a private act. So I guess I would challenge the law director's understanding of that. I think the amendment would have to have 16 votes, not the final motion. I mean, final motion probably as well, but I don't see how the amendment for this would only be 13 votes. I'd like the proof of that. I mean, this is a request for a private act, which is what the state would have to require. And that's 16 votes for that to happen.
Mr. Zidler's microphone. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, because this amendment's merely asking that be part of the request for the private act. At that time, it becomes a private act that you'll be voting on. The amendment is nothing until you all decide to vote on the final
motion, you mean?
final motion, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Thanks, sir.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree, but that's okay. I'm going to be voting against the referendum. I've explained this multiple times to people why I'm against the referendum. I am for, I've explained multiple times, there's multiple ways this county can fund volunteer fire departments, obviously through charitable donations, which is the current model, that's a voluntary. It's through charitable donations and a nonprofit allocation, which is also the current model the county does. Another option I've given is a subscription model, which Blount County does and some other cities within Tennessee do, which is possible through the state to change state law to do that. And obviously the fourth is a referendum. I'm not in favor of a referendum just because of the politicization and marketing I've seen in other instances of referendums to scare citizens to think everybody's going to die if you don't vote for fire tax. And that's really what's going to, in my opinion, is kind of the rhetoric that's going to come out of that. I think it's disingenuous with that kind of the language. But I fully support this. I'm the one that made the motion and been talking about this since last February and March. My original motion was to give $490,000 for the fire departments, which came out to roughly $90,000. It's $489,000 and some change. And that was to increase their funding from the previous 2 years and last year to be $1.17 million, close thereof is what my original proposal was on a recurring basis. That did not go through the budget cycle. Now we're back down to, I brought it up last month, 490, got amended from the floor to be 650. We did the notification, and that's here where we're at. And so I do appreciate that effort. But I personally can't vote for a referendum on this, and we got county commissioners who won't vote for a referendum for term limits. So I'd be interested to see how they vote on this one, because I'd be quite apropos. But the reasons I wouldn't vote for the referendum on this instance is because of the burden on the unincorporated areas and the messaging that would go out. I believe that would not be fair messaging surrounding that, in my opinion, based on, again, what I've seen in referendums recently and marketing initiatives around them that weren't exactly truthful, in my opinion. Okay. So, but I do fully support the resolution. I hope this fails with 13 votes, but I would like to vote for the 650, so that's all I would say.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harrison.
Just a quick question on Commissioner Schoaf's amendment. If I understood him correctly, the funding could not take place based on this amendment until we got the referendum. So unless I misunderstood or it was misstated, that was what I understood. In
Yeah,
fact, we talked about this in budget, and we had to get some clarification, so maybe I misspoke.
Yeah, the amendment would be to approve this if it also got the votes to send it to the state for referendum. Yeah.
Oh,
Is it different
Sure.
from what I just said?
It's not. I just want to be super.
If it's not, if it's not different from what I just said, let's move on. Mr. Jones, I accidentally bumped him, so Mr. Jones, microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for the maker of the motion, but I'll address it to you, Mr. Chairman, if you know, chime in. So if this goes to the state for referendum with a question of how to put it on a ballot, who gets to decide, who makes up that language on how it comes out on the ballot? Is that the state? Is that an ad hoc committee here? Who makes that ballot questionnaire to vote on? Because I'm not going to vote on anything.
If the state would approve it, then it would come back to us to then develop the language for the referendum.
Right. I think we're putting the cart before the horse on that, because I likewise have seen bad referendums come down and have choices that don't leave much of a choice. It's a bad decision A or bad decision B, and they leave out part C.
Okay. There's a point of order from Mr. Mansfield. Let's give his mic, Mr. Mansfield. What's the point of order, sir?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to send it to the state, you send it to the state with what language it's supposed to be on it. So that's what that would be doing tonight.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What's that?
So that what we send to the state would be the.
Does Mr. Law Director agree with that statement?
Yeah, that's what I'm clarifying with him. Can he turn his mic on? So the question is, when we send it to the state for their approval, does all the language have to be determined at that point or later when it comes back?
I don't have anything to back me 100%, but based on the way I've seen these go before, you're going to have the language up there first, because they're going to have to know exactly what they're giving you permission to do.
That's fair.
So we would outline what it is we're wanting the referendum to be on and exactly what we're going to ask the constituents to vote on.
That's what I thought. That's why I could not vote for this referendum yet. Not saying that I won't, but it doesn't sound appealing at this point. And then the second point, I mean, I'll probably end up voting for this, for the 650. It's a little more than I want to do originally, but the fear mongering, people talk about marketing and stuff and then we have people from the volunteer fire department or representatives or citizens that are promoting them come up here and basically fearmonger us to pay for it. I don't understand that. That should be the marketing that goes towards the citizens to say your ISO ratings are going to go up. It'd be cheaper for you to fund your own fire department than it would be for everybody to fund it. And then the question about how many of the county citizens, everybody in unincorporated areas, have to fund this if it does go to where it's a fire tax or something like that. Because there's so many inaccessible areas in the county that fire trucks can't even get to. Their houses are going to burn and they're going to be paying the fire tax possibly. There's a lot to hear here about how that would be fleshed out if we're going to talk about forcing people to pay for fire service. There's a lot of confusion there. I think that's what the ad hoc committee is probably going to be for and talk about. But for now, I'm ready to vote on this part, but not with that amendment.
Okay. I'm going to put Mr. Schoaf back in the queue here. So with you being the maker of this amendment, and now the understanding is that it would need the specific language, would you clarify what your amendment is then, if you can put the mic on?
Yeah, I was going to get back in queue to, if the second is okay with this, what I was going to suggest is to change the amendment so that we could approve the funding. But we will also, we are stating that we will submit a request to the state for a private act subsequent to language that will be developed and voted on again. So it's the same thing, but we can go ahead and do it, but we're binding ourselves to state that we're actually going to try to solve the long-term problem with an act.
Yeah, I don't think we can vote on something to say that, hey, we will vote yes to do that in a future meeting.
Well, then I don't see how, here's the thing, I'll withdraw the motion, but then I'll change my motion to simply change it from 650,000 to 200,000. That's the motion. Because I'm not comfortable doing this much unless we're going to solve this.
So the amendment, so the restated amendment has changed to, from 650 to a total of 200?
200,000.
Okay. So the amendment on the table, and who was the second? The original second? Are you okay with the, okay. So the amendment now is to lower the amount from 650 to 200,000. So that is the current amendment that we can talk about. Mr. Nguyen on this amendment. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, there's a lot of discussion on this. I know tonight is to solve a short-term need. Essentially, it's a stopgap, if you will. We've got an ad hoc appointed to look at and discuss and present options as far as long-term goes. So just, want to delineate those two. 650, I think, is the need. And 200, while it's a nice gesture, I don't think it gets us there, so I'm not going to support it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Janong?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been a big favor of the volunteer fire department. I did my rounds, I looked at all the facilities, took pictures, and I've been a champion for them. And I'm all about the 650. I am not about big government. I think government is bad, and it's not your friend. And to try to, because you don't do a referendum tonight, you want to penalize them to 200 and, I can't even remember I couldn't hear what you said. $200,000.
The amendment is to change it from 200, 650 to 200.
I don't think they should be penalized because we're not, we can't get it tonight or describe it the way we think we should or whatever. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. I'm not in favor of 200,000. I'm in favor of the 650. Let them have their dough. Let them go fix their places. Some of them are dilapidated. Some of them need equipment. There's a lot of things they need. And I think we need to do that. I think they do have an ad hoc committee. They have very good members on there. I think they need a chance to be able to put together ideas. And I've always been about putting people together in leadership. And I feel like, Mr. Chairman, that if we keep going down this route and chop, chop, chop and nitpick, we're never going to get anywhere, and other people are going to have problems. I live in the city. I have a wonderful fire department in Gallatin, wonderful. They're running up and down my road all the time. I don't think that we should penalize these people, and I'm not going to be in favor of $200,000. I'm in favor of 650, and that's the end of the story for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rogers.
Well, I'm almost echo what Commissioner Janone just said, that the 200,000 is nothing more than a slap in the face because we parliamentary couldn't get what we wanted to on the floor. I think really and truly is what we should do is fund them at their 650,000, let the ad hoc committee work, and come up with a resolution to send the referendum to the state while they're open and in session, taking referendum or taking bills down at the Capitol, and let the system work like it's supposed to work. I don't know how many times we've heard on this floor, why do we have committees if we aren't going to let the committees work? Here's our chance. Here's our chance to let the committees work. Let the ad hoc committee report back up to the main committee. Let that main committee bring their ideas and resolutions to the floor. I mean, everybody in here can show up to this ad hoc committee, say what they want to say, come to the committee, say what they want to say, come to the commission and say what they want to say. And by all means, state legislation is open as well to carry a bill if they don't get what they want here. So I think is what we need to do is let Let government work the way government needs to work. And I know that's very many words in one sentence. But I won't be supporting the 200. We need to go to 650 and let these guys go to work.
All right, appreciate it, sir. Mr. Mansfield?
We have one amendment.
Yes.
I'm going to amend the amendment to go back to the original 490 that I made last month.
Okay, so there's an amendment to the amendment. So this would take it from 650 to 200, but then now this amendment to the amendment is to, what was it, 490, Mr. Mansfield? 490? Okay. 490,000, and it was seconded. Mr. Ring, on this amendment to the amendment? Go ahead.
I'll say the same thing I was going to say before this amendment came up. We have a choice, I think, of voting for 650 or voting or not, or yes or no. If you vote no, then explain to people why you voted no. I mean, when I vote against something, I'm happy to explain why I voted against it. But if you're going to vote against 650, have a reason to vote with a good reason, that's up to you. Everybody's got their own options, but I think we need to go back to the 600,000 and forget about all this other stuff.
Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a point of clarification. I don't believe the volunteer fire departments have ever given us a number. The 490 was the first one that was brought by Commissioner Mansfield. That was increased, I believe, by Commissioner Harrison to 100,000 per fire department. The reason I asked to be on the ad hoc for the fire department is we don't really know. And the more I dig into it, the more I realize we don't know. So what I would say to my fellow commissioners is this is a stopgap. We know they need something because they come every month and remind us that they need something. They are a volunteer fire department, but we don't really have any metrics, any numbers. We don't have anything that truly states what their needs are. It could be way over $100,000 per precinct, or it could be way under. We just don't know. So I just wanted that point of clarification. I think I know how I'm going to vote on it, but to say that it needs to be 650 is not really true because we've never heard from the fire departments what it needs to be. Thank you.
Mr. Mansfield, I know we would not bind the next budget cycle to it, but is your intent with the 490 to be a one-time or a recurring? Mr. Mansfield's mic.
Yeah, the original intent when I brought this back up in February in legislative was to be recurring, but that's why I brought it up in February or March for the budget cycle. When I made the motion last month, it's understanding it's just a one-time right now because we're in the middle of a budget cycle. So, but the intent was to take what we're currently giving them, and then basically going up from, if you aggregate all the money we give them, it's around $55,000 per station. And I was proposing going up to 90,000, which was like 1.17 million on a recurring basis. And that's close to what they were asking for on a recurring basis. And to get rid of the old funding model where we're doing 24,000 per station plus the radio fees on the side plus this little pot of money, $138,000, eliminate all that, still paying for the radio fees. The county's absorbing that. But basically it was getting rid of that mixed funding model and just going to a straight 90,000 per station and just calling it that. There was no shared pot of money, no kitty. They went and meet together and figure out their needs. Everybody just gets the same and they figure out how to fix their own stuff. That was the original motion that I brought forward in February and brought to budget. But for this purpose, strictly 490, one time, no different than the 200.
So everyone's clear on the amendment to the amendment we're talking about is a 490 one time. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think there's any harm in voting for the 490 first. I'm for voting for that because I'm fearful that the 650 will not have enough votes to pass. I've seen some fear in some people's eyes and don't know if we can sustain that kind of a hit. I mean, we heard it from the budget chairman. So the 490 to me has a better chance of passing. I'm for voting for that. I don't think there's any harm in trying it. If it fails, then the 650 is going to be on the table anyway.
Yep. Mr. Rogers.
Call the question if there's anybody behind me.
Okay, there's one person in the queue, but we will call the question because there's a second. Put on the board, needs 16 votes.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Motion has been, call the question has been approved. So we will vote on the amendment to the amendment, which is, to change it from 200 to 490 one time. So a yes is to change it to 490. Let's put that on the board.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay, so that amendment to the amendment passes, so now we're on the amendment, which is to change it now from 650 to 490. Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know there's some concern has been raised that, I guess, what the funding, where it come from. Only but a few moments ago, we just voted to accept a $700,000 settlement from Gallatin. So I think we've got some funds available to do this. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sir, Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Chairman, I'm rising tonight to state a position more or less for my constituents. My district is 100% city of Hendersonville. I already pay a fire tax with the city of Hendersonville. And I can support, I have said it and I'll say it again, that the need for these people is real. And they are valiant in their efforts to help the community, and I admire them. So based upon that, I would like to make an amendment that I think we could all live with. Those of us who are in cities that already are paying for fire protection, that whatever amount of money is voted on to give to the volunteer fire department, that we will distribute an equal amount to the cities on a pro rata basis of population, so that the taxes within the city could be, we could feel some relief in the city. Otherwise, we will be paying for a county fire service and a city fire service. So I make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, so if I understand your amendment right, we're talking about 490 right now. Your amendment to that is to also take an additional 490 and distribute that 490 to the cities.
Incorporated cities.
The incorporated cities on a
basis of population.
Basis of population. So it's an additional 490 that would be distributed to the cities, the incorporated cities based on their population. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, is that Ms. Janong? Ms. Boyd, sorry. Okay, so Mr. Mansfield.
I actually had this conversation today with a constituent or a citizen. It's not my constituent, but our taxes, there's a lot of things that I live in the city of Gillisville. My property taxes go to, I pay for the highway department, but I drive on city and highway roads. I've never called 911. I've never been in a police car. I've never been arrested. Other than traffic court, I've never had to use a court, never been to jail. I've never had to use it, never had to call on anybody. For my property taxes, as a city resident, Gillisville doesn't have a jail, but I have to pay for the jail. I've never utilized the public school system, but my property taxes go to pay for kids to go to school. So there's a lot of things that we pay as city property tax owners for the county that benefit everybody. And if you drive on a county road, and if you have a wreck, as stated tonight, a volunteer fire department's going to respond to it. Or if you support a school that's in the county, which several of them are, that's what's going to be supporting is a volunteer fire department. So I just don't buy into the logic or the reasoning that because somebody lives in the city, they're not paying for county taxes for something, because otherwise you wouldn't pay highway, or if you wouldn't pay for the courthouse or the jail or schools or anything else. So I obviously won't be supporting this, and I live in the city limits of Gillisville, so I do not live in the county. But I represent a good portion of people who do live in the county, so I just have to make that counter argument with that, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you would direct to the maker of the motion, since it's on the 490, this amendment will be on the 490. If I understood the maker of the motion correctly, it was any amount of money. So would this amendment, if it passed, also be attached to the 650? If it passed.
The original 650?
Yes, if it passed.
Mr. Hyde, can you clarify, is your amendment on the additional 490 or the total amount regardless?
Mr. Chairman, whatever we decide on.
So it would be the full amount, dollar for dollar?
Cities.
Okay. So that's good point of information there. Is that the amendment being discussed right now would be on the original 650 plus the 490s, what is that, 1.04, something like that, to 1,040,000?
The way I understand it, it would be 1.3 million additional dollars, 650 to the unincorporated, or to the volunteer fire department, 650 to the cities. That's the way I understand it.
It would be, before any of this main motion, there's 650 already appropriated. Okay. The amendment is to incorporate that 650 as well. So it's whatever it ends up being, then the amendment that we're talking about would be matching that total number. Does that answer your question, Mr. Harrison? Okay. All right. So there was an amendment that we talked about from Mr. Hyde, and Ms. Boyd was the second on that. Mr. Wynn, on this amendment to the amendment. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate the amendment that was made, and I think it's very thoughtful, and I think there's a lot of benefit there. I struggle with trying to support that and just rectifying that because it is city services, and there's been so many occasions, I think 3 years, I've asked for additional funding for the White House Senior Citizen Center, and every year it comes back as it's a city service. Why would we fund that? So I'm having problems rectifying how it's okay for fire but not okay for our senior citizens. I know my colleagues, they get a chuckle out of it because I fight for my seniors every year, and I'll continue to. So I don't know. I struggle with that one just because it doesn't seem like we're following the same course there and how we apply, how we want to spend money. So all that to say is Commissioner Wynn's a question mark at this point. Thank you, sir.
Okay, appreciate it. Ms. Bergdorf.
Yes, I'm on budget, and I have struggled with this. I have spoken to many of the volunteer fire department volunteers, and but I like this amendment. Our EMS stations in Hendersonville, all of the county ambulances sit inside of our fire halls, and I absolutely can support this. So I will be supporting that amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hyde?
Just as a clarification, I'm sorry that I haven't earned people's support on this, and I don't know that it will go anywhere, Mr. Chairman. But I do want to clarify one thing. what was said about schools and roads and so forth. When I pay my property taxes up here and when I pay them at the city, I'm paying for everybody's roads and I'm paying for everybody's schools. But, you know, in this situation, it's a double fire tax on the residents within the city.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mr. Sullivan.
I think, Mr. Chair, we keep muddying the water. I do want to echo what Mr. Hyde said. It is double dipping on the fire side. If you live in the city of Gallatin or city of Hendersonville and you're already paying those taxes. So I won't support that. At the end of the day, I think the majority of us here, we know that they're struggling. I think we would be on board for the 650 and then let the ad hoc committee do their job.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Schoaf.
I almost did, Mr. Rogers, but I feel I need to speak to this because I'm also representing everybody in the city. And in principle, I know I've spoken this on several occasions. Yes, it is double taxation. And any tax that any contribution that we give to the volunteer fire departments is that. I mean, it is. And that is the truth of the matter, which is why for over a year now, I've tried to find a way to actually resolve this systematically. That said, I can't say that this really systematically solves anything. It just kind of says, well, because we're doing this over here, we're going to take our chunk too. So I appreciate the sentiment, and I do understand the dilemma we're in, but I can't support it because I don't know that it actually moves the ball forward in solving the problem.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Boyd.
Call the question.
All right, let's put that on the board. Is to call the question.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay. All right, so that gets the required 16 votes. So we are now going to vote on Mr. Hyde's amendment to the amendment. This is to match dollar for dollar, give it to the incorporated cities on a percentage based off their population. Let's put that on the board. So a yes is to do that.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Okay. So that fails to pass. We're back on the amendment to at the $490,000 mark. No one in the queue. Let's put this on the board. So this is the amendment to change it from 650 to 490. Yes would be to change it.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Yeah, which it failed. Yeah. All right, so that fails to get 13 votes, and now we're back on the original motion of the 650. No, it didn't. I got it. No, it didn't. But I know it's confusing, trust me. Mr. Ring, main motion?
Yes, the only motion, isn't it?
Say again?
650 is the only motion on the floor, is that correct?
Yes, that's
okay,
the
thank
motion.
You.
Okay.
I sympathize with what Mr. Hyde was saying because my district is entirely 100% within the city limits of Gallatin. My view on funding the volunteer fire departments has evolved over the years. A number of years ago when they came for more money, I voted no. Because I didn't feel it was right that my constituents were paying more money for fire for the county instead of as well as the city. But like I said, my view has evolved. Part of the reason for that is we have a lot of schools that are in the county and they need fire protection. Unless the Board of Education or the county wants to come up with its own fire department for schools, the people that are taking care of the schools right now out in the county are the volunteer fire departments. The county city limits line is about a mile from my house. If I drive a mile and a half to the east and I'm in a car accident, it's probably going to be volunteer fire department that shows up as well as the EMS. So I'm in favor of this, and I know that we will need to do more at a later time, but right now, 650, if we can do 650, that's a lot better than nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Rogers.
Got to do my due diligence, call the question.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Let's put that on the board. 16 votes to call the question.
Each commissioner record your vote.
Mr. Ring, did you mean to vote?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Were you a yes or no?
I'm trying to vote.
It's the timer's up. What's your vote? Yes or no? Okay. His yes vote gets us to 16. All right. No, you're right. All right. So the call to question passed with 16 votes. Mr. Ring was a yes, even though it didn't register. So now we are on we're voting on the main motion. So a yes or no question, yes, you can.
If it's a yes or no, that probably won't get it. There's a question for the budget chair.
Is it for information?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll make it brief.
Yeah, it's a point of information.
He made a statement about if it was going to go up higher, he was reducing it down to 200. I wonder if that was for tax purposes or if there's a funding issue with it. Can we afford to do this? Is it? Why was he so hard against it and went down with the number if it was going to go any higher than?
Yeah, that's. I mean, we're at 650 right now.
Okay.
So it does. Yeah, that does matter. Okay. All right. So let's put it on the board. This is for the main motion at 650. Yes is to approve that.
Each commissioner record your vote.
All right. That 650 passes 19-2. The ad hoc meeting does meet on this Wednesday. All right. So we are on, Mr. Schoaf, do you have anything? I mean, everything's approved. Mr. Schoaf?
I'm probably going to fail, but I was going to do a motion to reconsider for the multi-year lease for the library for the Zoom.
So you voted against it?
I voted for it. It passed.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, because the whole thing was bucketed up, and I voted to pass.
Okay.
So I want a motion to reconsider.
So did the second vote for it to pass?
That I don't know.
I know he did.
Okay, I mean, it fails, but, all right.
All right. Okay. No. Ms. Boyd, anything financial management?
Speak for
Yes.
a moment on financial management. Just to update everyone, our finance director left the building. We all know that. We got some great reports back from the finance department. They're doing a great job. They don't need anything right now. We have a meet and greet this week with a candidate. I hope everybody received the email. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out and take a look at that resume. We'll be talking about it in the near future.
Okay. All right. We are now on the recognition of the public on non-agenda items. Miss Mary Cole sat through all that patiently, so you can come up. For non-agenda items, it is a 3-minute time limit. Same rules apply as earlier, but go ahead and state your name and your full address.
My name's Mary Cole. I live at 514 Crowley in Gallatin. And I'm in favor of term limits. I think we need them. We all have seen what happened at the national level, and some of those things would not have happened if there had been better term limits. So I just want to bring this to your attention, and I think this needs to be addressed. And a lot of people think that agree that it needs to be addressed and put into place. So I want to express my opinion about that. And it basically comes to, you know, the heart of your representation to help government do what government does better. You know, the emphasis is on providing services, having fiscal accountability, transparency, all these things. It comes back to your representation. So anyway, I just wanted to express my opinion. Thank you all for sitting through, as he said, tonight, and I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Thank you. Bye.
So, thank you, ma'am. Unfortunately, the law director has no, not about what you said, but I was, if you're done, thank you very much, I appreciate it. The law director has pointed out that the second does not need, according to our rules, the second didn't need to be on the prevailing side. So there was a motion to reconsider. If we're reconsidering, it's the motion that we grouped and approved everything. So we'll have to go back and vote on everything. So we'll make sure that the maker of the motion, no, Mr. Cho?
So I can't make a motion to, just for the one line item?
If you're reconsidering, the vote was to group and approve.
All right. I mean, it's going to fail anyway, so that's fine. I'll make the motion to remove the group and approve.
You will?
Or to reconsider.
Okay, so there's a motion to reconsider what we grouped and approved.
Second.
There is a second. Let's put down the vote on the board. This is just 13, right? Yeah. So 13 votes are needed to reconsider, put on the board.
Each commissioner records your vote.
13 votes are needed. Okay, that fails. Any commissioner announcements? Anyone in the queue? Happy Thanksgiving, motion to adjourn. Happy Thanksgiving, motion to adjourn.